Have you ever been bullied, witnessed bullying, or been the bully? Well, here's a story for you. It's from a collection of stories by Sri Ramakrishna, who was also the spiritual guru of Sri Vivekananda. The story, at various points, puts up the question to tackle or tolerate. I'll be presenting the story using through dance, using mudras or hand gestures, most of which I'm sure you'll figure out. But just in case, at the end of the story, I'll be describing the typical ones that I've used just for clarification. So, here we go. There was once a lush meadow where young cowherds came to graze their cows. Near the meadow was a lone banyan tree. The boys were often tempted to climb the banyan tree or at least rest under its cool shade while watching over their cattle. However, they never dared to even step close to it, as a cobra had made its home under the tree. Now, this cobra was unlike any other. Generally, cobras flare their hood to scare away any threat and bite only when they feel endangered. However, this particular one was unusually aggressive and was known for biting even the innocent passerby. One day, while herding the cows around the meadow, the boys noticed a sage or a rishi walking on the path that went past the banyan tree. They quickly ran up to him and cautioned him about the cobra, for it had bitten many people. The sage told them that he wasn't afraid of the creature, as he knew a way of taming it. He then continued on that path. The boys were obviously curious. This was something they had to see. As the sage approached the tree, what did they see? As the sage approached the tree, the cobra sprang forward, flaring its hood and hissing furiously, ready to bite. Unperturbed, the sage gently raised his hand and chanted a mantra. Instantly, the snake lowered itself and harmlessly slithered to the sage's feet, who knelt down and spoke to the snake. The cowherds stood dumbstruck. Alas, not being able to hear a word of what was being said, they finally decided to get on with their work. The sage advised the snake to control its anger and to not lead a life of violence. He taught the snake a sacred word that would help it stay calm, with the instruction to repeat the word several times every day. The sage continued his journey. Soon after, the cobra started meditating on the sacred word. Days passed by, and it was unaware of the world around it. Then, one day, the young cowherds returned to the nearby meadow. While strolling around, they happened to see the snake lying under the banyan tree and were about to flee, when one of them registered that the snake was motionless, as if it were dead. Gathering courage, they moved closer. When they noticed a slight movement, they realized that the snake was very much alive, but probably unwell. Taking this opportunity, they started throwing stones at it. But the cobra did not react. Feeling unusually brave, one boy walked to the cobra and tried to grab it by its tail. What do you think happened next? Feeling unusually brave, one boy walked to the cobra, took it by its tail, and whirling it round and round, he hit it to the ground. The poor snake was left unconscious. After a long time, when it regained consciousness, its whole body was in terrible pain. As days went by, it recovered to some extent, but became very thin and frail. Even though a few rats and frogs had been within reach, it had fed only on leaves and berries, remembering what the sage had said about not being violent. A few days later, the sage happened to pass by the same place. Astonished to see the plight of the snake, he inquired about what had happened. The snake replied that it had dutifully followed his instructions and had not harmed any creature, not even when it was hungry and rats were within reach. It had instead lived only on leaves and berries while chanting the sacred word. And when the cowherds had thrown stones and ill-treated it, it had not reacted at all. After all, the boys were unaware of the recent change that had come about in its behavior. Now, the sage was dumbstruck at how his advice had been thoroughly misunderstood by the snake. He told the snake that he was happy that it had gained control over anger. However, just as troubling or biting others without reason is sinful, it is equally wrong to be silent when others bully you or hurt you. One should always stand up against that which is wrong and protect oneself as well as others around them. This story has been taken from the parables of Sri Ramakrishna. Out of the many lessons to be learned, I would like to mention one more, which is to do with following what is taught blindly. So the snake is meant to eat rodents in order to maintain nature's balance. And when it stopped doing so in the name of violence, not only did it become weak, it also messed with nature. So it's important for us to follow the essence, understand the essence of what is taught before following it. Well, I hope you would have understood most of the mudras in the narration. I've got my list ready here. We start with a variety of how we show a sage or a rishi, a learned person, right? Because they are known to be very meditative and have meditative powers. So we show them with this mudra, otherwise we show them like this. However, in this story I have used this and I have used this to show a sage. Secondly, tree. So we show a tree using this mudra, we show a trunk. Sometimes we also show with just a single hand, and I have used both these options in this particular story. Secondly, after that we have cowherd. So this is how we show a cow, and this is his stick, the cowherd stick. So the cowherd minding his cattle. And of course, day and night. This is how we show the rising sun. We use this mudra to show the rising sun and the setting of the sun and the rise of the moon. Although it's coming down, it's basically turning into night. So I have shown sun going into moon to show that the day has passed, or rather many days have passed. And we showed a frog like this. With this mudra we show a frog jumping, and this is how we show a rat. With this particular mudra we show a rat, right? And then of course the last one is knowledge. We use this mudra here. So this is where wisdom lies. If we are showing wisdom, knowledge, enlightenment, everything comes from here, and this is how we show it. So I'm sure you would have guessed almost all the mudras, if not all of them. I'll be back with yet another tale with a twist. Until then, do stay tuned in and please subscribe to this channel and so that you can get notifications of my future posts and stories. Thank you. Namaste.